I look at it a little bit differently. I think Coker, I don't think Coker was a super great executive. Obviously, he lasted longer than I did, so I'm, you know, I you
But you
can
weren't in
take that
charge
with
of
a.
Bo Dog, so I mean that's not comparable. You were a matchmaker.
I guess you could call me talent relations. So I mean, I had certain powers over contracts and things, but um, but I appreciate that. But my point is I don't think Coker was sitting there diabolically thinking, "I'm going to destroy the PFL." You know what I mean? It's like I think he was. He is a guy that, at the end of the day, falls on the side of fighter person, and I think more of what these contracts were is him trying to take care of guys that he had not had a chance to take care of yet, trying to do a few guys that worked hard for him a solid. I get accused of overpaying at times. I guess, in my career, I guess he's being accused of overpaying on those contracts now and trying to make them look bad. But a lot of the times, if you had a guy fighting for $2,000 for a set of fights, or a handful of fights, and he's been doing great work, and you give him a decent raise, it's also a little bit of the coverage to the back end. A guy like Gegard Mousasi is rumored to be one of the bigger contracts. Look at the guy's record. He's got 50 something fights, and he hasn't made big money for all 50 something fights. He actually made really small money for the majority of them. You know, he's been in big shows. I mean, Pride. Well, now that we look back at it and you understand the sport, Pride's $30,000 paydays look great when the UFC was paying 2 and 4. But at the end of the day, you can't live, 30,000 taxes. Your trainer, you're getting about 12 grand a fight. It's not huge money, even at those in those paydays. So he was with the UFC for a little bit. Maybe Bellator took care of him, and he netted a few $100,000 paydays. But Gegard Mousasi's a guy who's paid his dues, and I can see what Coker's trying to do for him. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do something. Hopefully, it works out. And his lawyers are telling him that the other guys don't have a safety net, so they're gonna buy him. The minute those contracts were signed, when the PFL reviewed them, if they weren't happy with them, the deal should have been shelved. You don't buy the company. You don't buy the company when Viacom cannot find another buyer for Bellator. They will come back with a much lower price.
Yeah, if you don't get the best guys, what's the value of it? Besides
Yeah, and
raising the funds like you had talked about.
yeah,
That could be
and
a
letting
value. If you get a 100, 200 million from somebody in Qatar, then maybe that's the value. But not getting the best guys makes it
yeah,
worth basically nothing unless you can raise money off of it.
yeah, and that's the other part of it is